We had Jack here from London, England. I was watching WrestleMania 9. And although it was a terrible show, I thought Shawn Michaels against Tatanka was the best match on the card. This got me thinking. From WrestleMania 9 onward, Shawn Michaels had probably the best match on every WrestleMania show that he was on. Do you agree? I thought that was a very interesting question from Jack. And I thought about this, and I'm going to say no, but it is very, very close. You would not be wrong if you said yes, but it's a subjective thing. But let's run through this, okay? So he had the match with Tatanka at WrestleMania 9. I actually remember the Steiner brothers and the Head Shrinkers match not being all that bad. I remember Scott Steiner almost being killed. If you remember the spot, I'm sure many of you probably do remember the spot I'm talking about where he kind of fell over the top rope and took a header out to the floor. But yeah, Shawn and Tatanka as a match probably was the best match on that card. WrestleMania 10, you could argue that Shawn and Razor outdid Brett and Owen, and that it's certainly historically it's a more significant match. Was it the better match? I like Brett and Owen more, but you would not be wrong if you went with the ladder match. So I'll give you the ladder match, because that's not the only place where I think you're wrong. But I'll give that one to you. WrestleMania 11 was just a shit show. So by default, yeah, Shawn and Diesel had the best match on the card. Although LT impressed me. He was completely gassed by the end of that match with Bam Bam. But I can't say that he had a better match than Shawn and Diesel did. WrestleMania 12, yes, we had the Iron Man match, right? WrestleMania 13, Shawn did commentary because of his phony knee injury. WrestleMania 14 did not have very many great matches. I didn't even think, frankly, his match with Steve Austin was all that great, but his back was in shambles, so it's understandable. Given that his back was in the condition that it was in, it's amazing he even had the match at all, let alone put together at least a decent match. But yeah, probably still the best match on that show, right? So then he goes away. He's gone for a number of years. WrestleMania 19 is his WrestleMania return against Chris Jericho. I would agree. I would say that him and Jericho had the best match on that show. WrestleMania 20, Triple Threat against Benoit and Triple H. Definitely. Best match on the show. WrestleMania 21 against Kurt Angle. Yes, I would agree. WrestleMania 22 against Vince McMahon. This is where I disagree. I liked the Trish Stratus-Mickey James match. I thought that was a good match. And I thought Shawn Michaels got a really good match out of Vince McMahon. That's not an easy thing to do. Now, Hulk Hogan did as well at WrestleMania 19. But by and large, Vince McMahon's actual matches, they're not exactly great matches. That's not really what Vince is known for. But Shawn got a really good match out of him. They had having the blunder and the hardcore rules helped. And being able to use ladders and tables and trash cans. And there was an absolutely sickening chair shot that he gave to Vince right in the head in that match. But they had a good match. But the reason I disagree is that I think Edge and Mick Foley had the best match at WrestleMania 22. And what that match did for Edge's career was worth far more than any storyline feud between Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon. So that's, if not WrestleMania 10, the show where I would disagree is actually WrestleMania 22. WrestleMania 23 against John Cena, yes, I would agree. Best match on the show. WrestleMania 24 against Ric Flair, I mean, just for the story and the emotion of it alone, yes. I know a lot of you might say Undertaker and Edge. I was not as much of a fan of that match as other people were. But I could see people thinking, no, Undertaker and Edge had the best match on the card that night. I'll say this, Charles Robinson certainly had the best run-in. I think we could all agree on that. And WrestleMania 25 and 26 go without saying. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at WrestleMania 25 is still my favorite WrestleMania match of all time. And the thing about it that's so crazy is most of the matches that I just mentioned that we just ran through from 19 onward, most of those WrestleMania matches came after he came back from the back injury. The second half of his career, the second act. I guess that's what happens when you get 4 years off to rest. You come back refreshed. Jad from London, England. I'm listening to the podcast Bruce and Conrad did about the creation of Monday Night Raw. Bruce says that when trying to describe it to people, they just tried to use any word starting with un that they could think of. Uncut, uncensored, uncooked, unpredictable. In terms of the show these days, what word starting with un would you use to describe Monday Night Raw? Unwatchable.